About 2 weeks ago I left home to go on a family vacation. A few days ago I got back and this is what the tank looks like. It looks as if a big crash has happened. From the outside of the tank looking into it, you can't really see much because all the sides of the aquarium are covered in algae. All sorts of algae. I can see some green algae, some brownish algae, even some cyanobacteria on the gravel itself. So in this video we are going to attempt at reviving this aquarium and get it to look great again. I'm going to take you along with me as we clean the glass by algae scraping it, cleaning the sand bed and doing a big water change. I think that will be enough to fix the aquarium. We also need to find the surface skimmer again because it disappeared. It looks like the suction cups didn't work anymore and the surface skimmer just fell to the sand bed and it's now covered in sand. If you see this and you have an aquarium yourself that needs a bit of cleaning, this is a great opportunity to watch this video while you do your tank maintenance. There's a lot of work to do, so let's get started. I decided to make some salt water using a new salt. Our channel sponsor sent me some goodies, so let's use them. Fritz Aquatics is a well-known aquarium brand in the United States and is also distributed in the United Kingdom. Today we're using the RPM Reef Pro Mix to mix 6 gallons of RO water and turn it into salt water. According to the instructions on the box, I need approximately 3 cups of salt to get the desired levels I need. I went a little bit below that, so we can easily add more if necessary. This clearly didn't work, but using a blank piece of paper you can create a funnel and add it without spilling salt everywhere. With a moist cloth, I removed the salt that we spilled, and for the next step we need to make sure that the lid is tightly closed, because it is time to mix. Now that's a pretty intense workout. It is best to wait a few hours before using the water, but to be safe I waited a day to make sure that all the salt had dissolved. For testing the salinity levels you can use a few different tests. A hydrometer, refractometer or a digital test. This time I'm using a refractometer. First I calibrated it using the Fritz Aquatics calibration liquid. Next we add a small sample of the salt water we mixed and see where the levels are at. It looks like we're at 35 ppt, so that's exactly what we need for this water change. One of the first steps in my maintenance routine is, after taking off the net cover, turning off all the flow. This gives you a much better view of the reef since all the water movement can be quite annoying, especially in a shallow tank like this. First let's take the surface skimmer out of the way. We'll check back on it later because it doesn't make sense to turn it on right now. I then use a scraper tool from Eheim to get rid of all the algae that has accumulated on the glass over time. Before I started using the scraper tool, I used a magnet cleaner, but with that tool I had to go over the stubborn algae a ton of times in order to get rid of it. With this scraper I put a little more pressure on it and the algae is gone after 1 or 2 swipes. So much easier. And on top of that, these tools are less than half the price of a magnet cleaner. I like to keep all the sides of the aquarium clean, including the back. I think it looks so much better if all the sides are clean. Once we've cleaned all the sides, it is time to take out as much algae as we can. So we just need to get rid of the leftovers when we do the water change and clean the sand. To do this I use a small fish net. I think we've taken out as much algae as we possibly can with the fishnet, so without damaging corals I think it's best to take care of the rest during the water change. I'm using a turkey baster to move all the debris to one side of the tank as best as I can, so that we can siphon it out without taking out too much water. I also don't want it all to settle in the sand when we gravel vacuum it, because that can lead to some nasty nitrate and phosphate spikes. Once most of it has settled, I use a small hose to siphon out the algae and waste. This shouldn't take out much more than a gallon of water. Next I use a gravel vacuum tool to clean the sand. This is my secret for having such white sand, I guess. A lot of nasty waste can build up in your sand bed and cause it to, well, get a little darker. This is pretty straightforward and takes less than 10 minutes to do. Now while we're at it, I might as well use this time to service the power heads by removing the cap and rotor inside. A lot of algae buildup on the equipment can limit flow quite a bit. After these few steps, it is time to add the freshly mixed salt water to the aquarium. First I made sure that the water had the exact same temperatures as the water inside the aquarium. This is very important because you don't want to give your corals and fish a temperature shock. In total I took out roughly 5 gallons of water, so we're good. Now to take out the finest particles in the water, I turn on the surface skimmer as well as the power heads. On the biggest power head on the right side of the aquarium I wrap some filter floss using an elastic band, so that it acts as a power filter. After a few hours I will remove this floss. It's now just 3 hours later and you can already see that the tank has cleared up quite a bit. Now we can actually see the reef itself. Now that we can actually see the reef itself, you may notice that some of the corals you've seen in previous videos are no longer in this aquarium, like the big green Space Invader chalice. But don't worry, they are all still alive and well. I'm keeping them in my frag tank for the time being, as we need to make some drastic changes to this reef. Because it seems that the aquarium is so successful that the corals are killing each other for some space. Rest assured, these corals will make an appearance on the next video when we check out the other aquariums. A lot of changes are coming that will make my reef tank / bedroom even better, so stay tuned and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. While we're finished with this aquarium for today, I will keep an eye out on the phosphate and nitrate levels over the next few days, as it will likely go up a bit since we've done so much maintenance on it. A lot of waste will break down over time and cause the phosphate and nitrate levels to rise a bit. If necessary, I will do another small water change. But for now, go enjoy your own aquarium and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.